my circular saw is not deep enough to cut this board, so I'm going to run it through and I'll have about 3/4 of an inch. I'll just finish that off with the handsaw. So the proper way for cutting this will probably be using this side of the saw. However, I'm going to have a lot hanging over and not that experienced with this saw. I don't want to mess it up. So I want to go this way, cut it this way, because then the motor here is hanging over. But the problem is it doesn't give me much clearance to line something up here for this to ride against. So I'm going to use one of these clamps here as a straight edge, because that will get underneath it and it'll be a little bit more stable for me as I'm trying to trim off this piece. So in thinking about doing this, I was like, okay, well, if I clamp something on here, then that's going to get in the way of the motor. So I was like, well, if I had a piece of block of wood from here to here, then I could clamp it. And then I remembered that these clamps I could also use as spreaders. So it looks a little hokey, but I just need it just to stabilize me when I'm doing my cut. So if all goes well, it'll cut most of it off, and then I'll finish it off with a handsaw. I did a second pass because when I was looking at it, I had like the rear end just hanging out, maybe a 1/16. So let me finish this up with a handsaw now, and then I'll sand it down. Table. There you go. Fall back. Okay, stop for a second. So you keep coming back. Yep, you're gonna get a little sawdusty. Just stay right there. Just move your arm back and forth. You're getting there. Just keep it flat. Doing a good job. Slow down. Slow down, go. So I've been trying to think about a way how to mount this table. Some of the suggestions were drilling through this metal here into the table, but it wasn't drilled before, so I don't know how the table top was actually on here. So what I'm going to do is take like these scrap pieces of wood that I used. I guess it's a 1x2, and I'm going to tuck them underneath here, and then when I lay the top on, I'll screw in through the bottom here to secure it to the table. So I'll do it on both sides of the table, and then on the edges it does not have a lip, so I'll screw some of this directly to the bottom of the tabletop just to keep the table from shifting side to side. learn from my mistakes. Make sure the blade is clear before you turn it on so it doesn't flick off any chunks of wood. And for this piece I probably should have been using a finer tip blade. Got the backsplash glued and screwed and clamped right now to the board. So learning from my mistakes, these were the little shavings when we were cutting down the 2x4s, and you can see this round circle. That was for me when I was making the top from the clamps pushing in, so I'm using this to help offset some of that pressure while putting that backsplash in. You've got to sand it down, and then I'll put the boiled linseed oil on this as well. Sorry. Oh. Now, you see where it broke? It didn't break at the glue line. The wood broke. Do it again. See, that's some strong glue. Here, try it with this piece.
No, Eli.
Go ahead. See? The wood broke, not the glue joint. That's some strong glue. It's almost completed. I'll have to wait for this coat to dry. Then I'm going to try putting on another coat. And then we'll start getting ready to mount it to the table and mount the vise. Using these little Harbor Freight free lights they give away when you buy something. They come in handy for this. I'm going to teach you a valuable lesson that Mommy always tells me. She always tells me you can't put a square peg in a round hole unless you're using one of these bolts, because the ends are square. So if you pound it hard enough, you can get a square block through a round hole. Just don't tell Mommy that. But okay, like I already had to set this one, if you can, start feeding these up from the bottom. Okay. Alrighty. I probably should have had the vise on there first and had you feed them up, because when I put the vise on, they're probably going to fall out. But you know your ratchet wrench set? I need you to find the ratchet which fits that nut. I think I got them lined up. Try it again.
Is it lined up? It's not where the hole is.
Oh yeah. Daddy's knucklehead. Alright, there you go. Just go ahead. I'll do that. Okay, go ahead. Turn the screwdriver. Okay, not all the way though. Okay, now put the other one in.
Is this magnetic?
No, I don't think so. Okay. You want to go straight. You're going in at an angle. There you go.
I'm going to stop.
Yeah, you can tighten it down now. All the way down. Now do the other one. Okay. Now let's do the other side. Push the bolts up through. Go. Oh, it's okay. It's going to fall back out again. So, push it up in. Okay, now put one of these flat washers on each one of them. Do not put the nuts on just yet. Okay. This is called Loctite. It's kind of like glue for threads. Daddy's just going to put a little bit on here. So when we're pounding on these things, it'll help keep the nuts and bolts. Okay, now manually put on, try not to touch the Loctite because it'll stain it. No, just manually put it on with your fingers. Put it on with your fingers. You don't have enough tension yet. Good job. Don't tighten it all the way down. We want to do each one of these now. So do it finger tight. I got it. Go ahead. Now you can use your tool. Good job. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, I got my side. You got your side. Are you? Awesome. What do you think?
It's good.
It's good? Think we're going to have some fun working with this new tool bench? Awesome. Well, I really appreciated the time you spent working on this project with me. They meant a lot. Thank you. All right. Finally finished it. Just took a little bit over a month to do because I could only do it on weekends and I wasn't able to do it every weekend. But I think the whole project turned out great. Oh, my finger in front of me. So one question that's going to pop up is how much did I spend in paint and wood and like the liners and the rust remover. It's just a little under $100 total for this project. Thanks for everybody sticking through with this video. I'll show you some sneak peeks of upcoming videos, though I haven't even started any of these projects. So I'm going to be restoring this. It's like a wrench hammer combination. This end protrudes, so you could use it as a hammer. It's got some, I'll have to figure out how to take that off and reinstall some new wood and get that all cleaned up. And then another video most of you will like, we'll be restoring this old 22 long rifle. This was a gentleman, he was about 65 years old, and this was his father's. It's got some surface rust on the barrel. My friend took it out, shot it, said it functions fine. I don't know what I'm going to do with the chroming on here as well. I have this blue tape because the gentleman's father had scratched his social security number into the stock and didn't want that all over the World Wide Web. It's an old don't know if you can see it. It's an old Winchester 22 long rifle. So this will be an upcoming project. I don't know when I'll even start doing this. There's a gentleman next town over which does a lot of old gun restoring, and I want to take it to him and get his ideas first because I know he is like bluing tanks and everything, and I don't know how I'm going to finish this off. But thanks again for watching.